The continuous rainfall and increased humidity due to ongoing rain across New South Wales and Queensland has meant our houses have become ideal breeding grounds for mould. Some households are experiencing widespread mould and damage due to extreme flood events. Others are finding fungi growing on clothes, walls, furniture, food and other household items. These damp school shoes grew mould over the weekend. Mould expert and mycologist Dr. Heike Neumeister-Kemp told ABC Radio Sydney that where and how fast mould grows depends on the types of nutrients and what the surface or fabric is made out of. Mould really likes it on chocolate mousse, wicker baskets, soft furnishings, sugary things and anything that has oil in them, Dr. Neumeister-Kemp says. The presence of mould spores can lead to severe health effects, and so it is important to clean and remove mould correctly. Below, Dr. Neumeister-Kemp shares solutions to some of the common mould problems we're experiencing, while our Facebook readers share their experiences of mould in their homes. I have mould on my clothes, fabrics and shoes. Does clove oil work? Dr. Neumeister-Kemp says using clove oil to remove mould on clothes can be effective, but has certain limitations. It works on small areas, but the problem is any substance that contains oil will leave an oily residue and eventually, mould will grow on it, she says. Besides, using oil on large areas of clothes is far too expensive. Son's leather school shoes were soaked through, left to dry under other wet shoes and green mould started to grow on them. Used alcohol wipes to clean it all off and stuffed with newspapers several times to dry them out, Julia MB via ABC Sydney's Facebook page. Moldy school shoes in Julie's house. The mould researcher recommends using natural products, which are oil-free, or proper plant-based removal products. Dispose of the clothes if this doesn't work, because the mould has set into the fabric, and it will be impossible to remove the black mould from the garments, she says. There's mould in my wardrobe. Ross Hamilton's family has been living with mould over the past 18 months. If an entire wardrobe is infested with mould, Dr. Neumeister-Kemp suggests vacuuming the clothing and washing the garments in warm vinegar water. In order to prevent mould concentrate in wardrobes, she says moisture-removing packs, often available in supermarkets and hardware stores, can be beneficial. If you use gel packs to prevent moisture, you need to see how much volume of air you have in the covered areas, she says. She also suggests using newspaper stuffed in shoes and putting them in a breeze to dry. It is important to replace the paper once every 8 hours. I've previously lived in the tropics, where some people used low wattage lamps in their wardrobes to prevent mould growing on clothes and shoes, Lucy Quinn. How do I prevent mould on my walls and ceilings? Victorian Health suggests that in many cases, household detergent or white vinegar will be sufficient to clean hard surfaces. Use a microfiber cloth and rinse the dirty cloth regularly in a separate container of clean water to prevent spreading the mould. To prevent mould resurfacing, Dr. Neumeister-Kemp proposes the use of dehumidifiers and air conditioners with dry mode. Gillian Acres' mould issue has been increasing daily since the March rainy season began. I have fans going flat out all day, every day to keep the air moving, Rosemary Griffin. I use the dry setting on my air conditioner when it's really humid. It still cools the house down, but things are not damp and egan. Dr. Neumeister-Kemp says the threshold for indoor humidity levels is 65% and families should keep windows closed while running dehumidifying equipment when the outside humidity level is higher. This will prevent moisture from infiltrating your house, she says. Once the humidity levels have reduced, you need to introduce better ventilation. When it's dry, make sure you have enough airflow and take away the water required for the mould to grow, she says. Mould on my furniture. Soft furnishings and leather are breeding grounds for fungi in humid conditions. Dr. Neumeister-Kemp advises wiping down furniture, cushions and barbecues with vinegar, and cleaning products with bioenzymes. Mix regular vinegar with a little bit of water to bring it down to the osmotic pressure of the fungi, and then you can work with it, she says. Regular vinegar does the best trick, and avoid using artificial vinegar because it doesn't work. Bioenzymes are a great remedy because some actually leave a coating that will remain active to protect your furniture. In wet weather conditions, you should bring your cushions and furniture inside and bring them back outdoors to air out when the humidity falls back to normal levels. This will allow your furniture and outdoor items to structurally dry and prevent mold from reappearing. Can I use bleach to remove mold on timber products? Mold has taken over our house, our dining table, kids' wood toys, the roof and walls, Tynal Nunn said. Dr. Neumeister-Kemp says extra care is needed when mold generates on timber products like bookshelves and cabinets. Whatever you spray timber with, it is important it is not a bleach product, and you need to actually physically remove it, she says. You need to use plant-based bioenzymes to avoid damaging the coating and lacquer on the timber items. Angela's moldy utensils in northern NSW went straight into the bin. Mainly green mold on timber furniture. Oil of clove seems to work on black mold, white vinegar on the green stuff. Then damp-ridden cupboards and running a dehumidifier, as well as opening every window possible and running air con. It's felt like a constant battle, Suzanne Stanton. Mold is growing on my bread. If mold has landed on your food, Dr. Neumeister-Kemp's approach is when in doubt, leave it out. By the time you can see the mold on bread, it has actually grown through the entire bread and can give you food poisoning, she says. Moldy food cannot be salvaged. She says the best practice during humid days is to refrigerate food and store them in areas not exposed to the open air such as dry cabinets and pantries. There are so many mold spores in the air at the moment, so food and fruits catch mold much faster, she says.